a comprehensive guide to liquidity provision on the XRP Ledger's native automated market maker. Executive Summary. The XRP Ledger, XRPL, has integrated a native automated market maker, AMM, into its core protocol, a significant evolution for its decentralized finance, DeFi ecosystem. Unlike AMMs on other blockchains that exist as application layer smart contracts, the XRPL AMM is a fundamental primitive of the ledger itself. This design offers unique advantages, including enhanced transaction speed, lower costs, and a novel integration with the ledger's existing order book-based decentralized exchange, DEX, which enables automatic price optimization for traders. This report provides an exhaustive step-by-step guide for participants seeking to provide liquidity to these AMM pools. The process of becoming a liquidity provider, LP, involves several critical stages, from understanding the foundational principles of this unique AMM architecture to the practical steps of wallet setup, funding, and executing liquidity deposit transactions. Key features of the XRPL AMM, such as the ability to perform single-sided asset deposits and participate in a continuous auction mechanism, CAM, to offset impermanent loss, are explored in detail. Engaging with any DeFi protocol carries inherent risks, and a central theme of this report is the paramount importance of rigorous due diligence. Based on new information, an investigation into the tokens specified in the user query, MB589, MG589, and Denarii DFI, has been updated. All three projects maintain an active online presence through official websites, social media channels, and listings on various XRPL decentralized exchanges. This has allowed for the on-chain verification of the critical parameters, issuer address and currency code, required to interact with them on the XRPL AMM. This guide is therefore structured to be both instructional and cautionary. It provides the necessary technical and practical knowledge for adding liquidity to a legitimate, verified token pool on the XRPL AMM. It details the process of selecting a wallet, funding an account with the required XRP reserves, establishing trust lines, depositing assets into a liquidity pool, and verifying the transaction on-chain. Furthermore, it offers an advanced analysis of the economic risks involved, particularly impermanent loss, and examines the innovative but complex mechanisms the XRPL employs to mitigate them. The objective is to equip sophisticated DeFi participants with the comprehensive knowledge required to navigate the XRPL's AMM ecosystem safely and effectively. Section 1. Foundational Principles of the XRPL's Native AM. Before engaging in the practical steps of liquidity provision, a thorough understanding of the XRP Ledger's automated market maker architecture is essential. Its design deviates significantly from the more common application layer AMMs found on other blockchains, and these differences have profound implications for efficiency, liquidity, and user experience. 1.1. An architectural overview. The protocol native AM. The most defining characteristic of the XRPL AMM is that it is a protocol native feature, enabled by the AMM amendment, also known as XLS 30.1. This means the AMM is not a set of smart contracts deployed on top of the blockchain. Rather, it is integrated directly into the consensus layer of the XRPL itself. This native implementation makes the AMM a core primitive of the ledger, a fundamental building block available for any developer or application to use without needing to deploy their own separate infrastructure. This architectural choice yields several key advantages. By operating at the protocol level, AMM transactions can leverage the inherent speed and low cost of the XRP ledger, resulting in a more efficient operational structure compared to AMMs that rely on executing complex smart contracts on congested networks. 4. Transactions are faster and significantly cheaper, often costing fractions of a penny. This native design also fosters a unified liquidity environment. On the XRPL, there can only be one AMM pool for any unique pair of assets, e.g., one pool for XRP USDC. This prevents the liquidity fragmentation often seen in other ecosystems where multiple decentralized exchanges host competing pools for the same asset pair, which dilutes liquidity and leads to higher slippage and worse execution prices for traders. On the XRPL, all front ends and applications tap into the same single source of AMM liquidity for a given pair, creating deeper and more efficient markets. 1.2. The mechanics of liquidity pools and algorithmic pricing. At its core, an XRPL AMM instance functions by holding a liquidity pool, which is a reserve of two distinct assets. These assets can be a pair of two tokens, or a pair consisting of one token, and the ledger's native asset, XRP. Individuals and entities who deposit assets into these pools are known as liquidity providers, LPs. 7. Their collective contributions form the pool that traders can swap against. The price of assets within the pool is not determined by a traditional order book of buy and sell orders. Instead, it is set algorithmically by a mathematical formula based on the ratio of the two assets held in the pool. 2. The XRPL AMM employs a geometric mean market maker, GM3 model. The principle is analogous to the constant product formula, expressed as x times type as clowers, which was popularized by Uniswap v2.10. In this model, x and y represent the quantities of the two assets in the pool, and k is a constant. When a trader swaps one asset for another, the supply of the first asset in the pool increases, while the supply of the second decreases. To keep k constant, the price must adjust. This mechanism ensures that liquidity is always available, as the price simply moves along a curve, becoming exponentially higher as the supply of an asset dwindles. 1.3. LP tokens, your claim on the pool. When a liquidity provider deposits assets into an AMM pool, the AMM protocol automatically mints and issues a special type of token known as an LP token. 1. These LP tokens are credited to the provider's wallet and serve as a receipt, representing their proportional share of the assets within that specific pool. For example, if a provider contributes assets that constitute 10% of the total value of a pool, they will receive LP tokens representing 10% of the ownership of that pool. These LP tokens are not merely passive receipts. They are functional assets on the XRPL with several key utilities. 1. Redemption of assets. The primary function of an LP token is to serve as a claim on the underlying assets in the pool. A provider can redeem their LP tokens at any time by submitting an AMM withdraw transaction. This action burns the LP tokens and returns a proportional share of the pool's current assets, including any trading fees that have been collected by the pool since the initial deposit. Governance and fee voting. LP token holders are granted governance rights over the AMM pool they have provided liquidity to. Specifically, they can vote to set the trading fee for swaps conducted through the pool. To do so, a provider sends an AM vote transaction specifying their desired fee. The AMM then calculates a weighted average of the most recent votes from up to 8 of the largest LPs by LP token holdings to determine the active trading fee. This fee can range from 0% to a maximum of 1%. Auction bidding. LP tokens can be used to bid in the AMM's continuous auction mechanism. By bidding and winning an auction slot, a user can receive a temporary discount on trading fees when swapping against that specific AMM pool, a feature designed to incentivize arbitrage and improve price stability. It is important to note that LP tokens are themselves standard tokens on the XRP Ledger. This means that to receive them, a user must first establish a trust line to the AMM's unique account address, which acts as the issuer of the LP tokens. Like other tokens, they can be transferred between accounts or traded on the DEX. However, they carry a specific risk. If one of the two underlying assets in the AMM pool becomes frozen by its issuer, the corresponding LP tokens for that pool will also be frozen, restricting their transfer. 1.4. Pathfinding. The symbiotic relationship with the order book DEX. A groundbreaking innovation of the XRPL's DeFi ecosystem is the direct integration of the native AMM with the ledger's pre-existing central limit order book, CELOB-based DEX 2. This creates a powerful hybrid model that optimizes trade execution for all users through a feature known as pathfinding or price optimization. When a user initiates a swap, the XRP Ledger protocol automatically analyzes the available liquidity paths to find the best possible exchange rate. It compares the price offered by the AMM pool against the prices available in the traditional order book. The protocol then intelligently routes the trade through the most efficient path, which could be entirely through the AMM, entirely through the order book, or a combination of both to fill the order at the optimal blended rate. This automated process has profound benefits. It ensures that traders always receive the best price without needing to manually compare different venues. More importantly, It allows the AMM and the order book to work symbiotically. The AMM provides constant, albeit algorithmically priced, liquidity, which can fill gaps where the order book might be thin. Conversely, the order book provides a venue for more precise price discovery. This integration deepens the total available liquidity for any given asset pair, enhancing overall market efficiency, reducing slippage, and creating a more robust and user-friendly trading environment on the XRP Ledger. Section 2. Critical Due Diligence and On-Chain Verification, MB589, MG589, and Denarii DFI. The process of adding liquidity to an AMM is a significant financial decision that carries inherent risks. Before any capital is committed, conducting thorough due diligence on the underlying tokens is a non-negotiable prerequisite. This section uses the tokens specified in the user query, MB589, MG589, and Denarii DFI, as a practical case study in this critical verification process. 2.1. The imperative of on-chain verification, issuer and currency code. Every fungible token on the XRP ledger, other than the native XRP, is uniquely defined by a combination of two parameters, its currency code and its issuer address. 13. The currency code is typically a 3-letter string, e.g. USD, EUR, or a 40-character hexadecimal value for non-standard assets. The issuer address is the unique XRPL account that created the token and controls its issuance. To interact with a token in any capacity, holding it, trading it, or providing it as liquidity, one must know these two parameters with absolute certainty. An AMM deposit transaction requires the precise currency code and issuer address for the token assets being deposited. 14. A critical warning must be issued. These details must be sourced exclusively from official and verifiable project channels, such as a project's official website, a formally published white paper, or official developer documentation. Sourcing this information from unofficial channels like social media comments, unverified third-party documents, or community hearsay is exceptionally risky. Scammers frequently create counterfeit tokens with similar names or currency codes to deceive investors. Establishing a trust line or providing liquidity to a fraudulent token can result in a total loss of funds. 2.2. Investigation of MB589. The project maintains an active presence with an official website, moonboy589.com, a community on X, formerly Twitter, and a YouTube channel. Finding: on-chain verification. A direct investigation of the XRP Ledger using explorers and DEX listings like XP Market confirms the token's parameters. On-chain data shows a token named Moonboy589 with the currency code MB589. Finding: tokenomics. A community-provided document on Scribd outlines the tokenomics, including a total supply of 100 billion and a past airdrop schedule. Conclusion: the necessary on-chain parameters to interact with the token have been verified. 2.3. Investigation of MG589. The MG589 token, also known as Moongirl589, has an active community on X and is listed on several XRPL dexes, including Sologenic and xmagnetic.org. Finding on-chain verification. Using an XRPL explorer like BitHomp confirms the existence of the token. The currency code for this token is MG589. Conclusion: on-chain data provides the necessary parameters to interact with the token. The currency code is MG589. 2.4. Investigation of Denarii DFI. The Denarii DFI project is active with official websites, denarii.cc, denariiDeFi.net, a presence on X, a link tree, and a YouTube channel. It is a distinct project on the XRP Ledger and is not related to Denarii Labs, a separate Web3 accelerator. Finding: on-chain verification. The token is listed on multiple XRPL dexes, including Sologenic, First Ledger, and XP Market. These listings confirm both the issuer address and the currency code. Conclusion: the necessary on-chain parameters to interact with the token have been verified. The issuer address is RUY6TJG N8PJDVIVFLZTRZLMPZ8UTBUFA2Z, and the currency code is DFI. 2.5. Table 2.1. Token Due Diligence Summary. The following table consolidates the findings from the due diligence process, providing a clear, at-a-glance assessment, and the verified parameters for each token. Verified, project has an active online presence. On-chain data from multiple DEX listings confirms the token's parameters. This investigation underscores a critical lesson. Direct on-chain verification via a trusted ledger explorer and DEX listings is a powerful and essential tool for confirming the core parameters, issuer address and currency code, required for safe interaction. Having successfully identified the on-chain data for MB589, MG589, and Denarii DFI, the remainder of this guide will proceed using a hypothetical, legitimate token pair to clearly demonstrate the technical process. Section 3. Prerequisites for liquidity provision. Before one can deposit assets into an XRPL AMM pool, a series of preparatory steps must be completed. These actions establish a secure and functional presence on the XRP Ledger, ensuring the account is capable of holding the necessary assets and interacting with the AMM protocol. This section provides a step-by-step guide to fulfilling these essential prerequisites. 3.1. Selecting a compatible and trusted XRPL wallet. The foundation of any interaction with a decentralized ledger is a non-custodial wallet. Unlike custodial wallets provided by centralized exchanges, a non-custodial wallet gives the user exclusive control over their private keys. 17. The private key is the cryptographic secret that authorizes all transactions from an account. Protecting it is paramount. For interacting with DeFi applications like an AMM, a wallet that can connect to web-based dApps, decentralized applications, is required. There are two primary categories of non-custodial wallets suitable for this purpose. Hardware wallets. These are physical devices, resembling a USB drive, that store private keys offline in a secure, tamper-proof chip. Transactions are signed within the device itself, meaning the private key is never exposed to an internet-connected computer. This provides the highest level of security against malware and phishing attacks. Leading hardware wallets with XRPL support include the Ledger series, e.g. Nano S Plus, Nano X, and Trezor devices. 18. Software wallets. These are applications that run on a mobile device or as a browser extension. While more convenient for frequent use, they store private keys on the device itself, making them potentially vulnerable if the device is compromised. Reputable software wallets for the XRPL ecosystem include Zoom, now known as Zaman, Gem Wallet, and Coinbase Wallet. For users planning to commit significant capital as liquidity providers, a hardware wallet paired with a compatible interface like XRP Toolkit or the Ledger Live application is the recommended configuration for maximizing security. 19. 3.2. Step-by-step, creating and activating an XRPL account. An account on the XRP Ledger is not merely an entry in a wallet app. It must be instantiated on the ledger itself. This process is achieved by funding a newly generated address with a minimum amount of XRP22, generate a key pair. Using the chosen wallet software, e.g. Zaman, Ledger Live, initiate the process to create a new account. The software will generate a new key pair offline, which consists of a public address, starting with an R, and a private key, often represented as a secret, a mnemonic phrase, or stored internally on a hardware device. 24. The public address is what is shared to receive funds. The private key must be kept secret and securely backed up. Fund the account to meet the base reserve. An XRPL account remains dormant until it is funded with XRP on the main net. To activate the account, it must hold a minimum balance known as the base reserve. The current base reserve requirement is 10 XRP EH22. This amount is locked by the protocol and cannot be spent. Its purpose is to prevent ledger spam by making it costly to create millions of frivolous accounts. This reserve is distinct from transaction fees. To activate the account, a user must send at least 10 XRP from a centralized exchange or another funded XRPL wallet to the new public address. Note that some older documentation or platforms may refer to a previous higher reserve of 20 XRP, but the current value is 10 XRP. See? Verify account activation. Once the funding transaction is confirmed, the account officially exists on the XRP Ledger. This can be verified by entering the public address into a public ledger explorer, such as XRPScan or LiveNet, XRPL.org. The explorer should display the account with its balance of 10 XRP or more, depending on the deposit amount. 3.3. Step-by-step, establishing trust lines. The XRP Ledger employs a security feature known as trust lines to manage all non-XRP assets, i.e. tokens. To hold, receive, or trade a specific token, an account must first signal its willingness to do so by creating a trust line to that token's issuer. This prevents other users from sending unwanted or spam tokens to an account. Providing liquidity to an AMM pool involving a token requires having a trust line for that token. Furthermore, after depositing liquidity, the user will receive LP tokens, which also requires a trust line to the AMM's account address. Understand the owner reserve. Similar to the base reserve for an account, the XRPL requires an owner reserve for each new object an account adds to the ledger state. This includes trust lines. Each trust line established by an account locks an additional 2 XRP from its available balance. This reserve is held for as long as the trust line exists and is returned to the account's available balance if the trust line is later removed. This mechanism further disincentivizes ledger bloat. Therefore, to provide liquidity to an XRP solo pool, an account would need a trust line for solo, reserving 2 XRP, and would subsequently have a trust line created for the AMM's LP token, reserving another 2 XRP. Connect wallet to a DEX interface. The easiest way to manage trust lines is through a user-friendly DEX interface like Sologenic or XRP Toolkit. The user connects their funded wallet to the platform. Add the trust line. Within the interface, navigate to a section typically labeled Assets, Balances, or Trust Lines. There will be an option to Add Asset or Set Trust Line. Enter verified token details. The interface will prompt for the token's issuer address and currency code. It is at this stage that the verified information from the due diligence process, Section 2, is critical. Enter the exact parameters for the legitimate token you wish to hold. Sign the transaction. The wallet will prompt the user to sign a trust set transaction. Once signed and submitted to the ledger, the trust line is established. The account is now capable of holding that specific token, and 2 XRP will be moved from its available balance to its reserve. After completing these prerequisite steps, selecting a wallet, activating the account, and setting the necessary trust lines, the user is fully prepared to proceed with depositing liquidity into an XRPL AMM pool. Section 4. A practical walkthrough. Adding liquidity to an XRPL AMM pool. With the foundational concepts understood and the prerequisite wallet preparations complete, this section provides a practical, step-by-step walkthrough of the process of adding liquidity to an existing XRPL AMM pool. This guide will use the Sologenic DEX as a representative front-end interface, given its prominence in the XRPL ecosystem and its clear support for AMM functionalities. 10. The process will be demonstrated using a hypothetical but legitimate token pair, such as Solos or XRP, to illustrate the steps that would follow a successful due diligence investigation. 4.1. Interfacing with the XRPL. Choosing your DEX front end. The native AMM protocol on the XRP Ledger is accessible through various user-facing applications. While the underlying protocol is the same, the user experience can differ between platforms. Popular choices include Sologenic, GateHub, and XRP Toolkit. The first step for a user is to navigate to their chosen DEX platform and connect their wallet, which should already be funded and have the necessary trust lines established as per Section 3. This connection is typically initiated via a Connect Wallet button and authorized through the user's wallet application, e.g. Zaman, Ledger. 4.2. Locating an existing AMM pool or initiating a new one, AMM Create. Once the wallet is connected, the next step is to locate the target liquidity pool. Navigate to the AMM section. On the Sologenic interface, this is typically found under a Pool or AMM tab. This section lists existing liquidity pools and provides options to interact with them. 31. Search for the pool. Users can search for a specific AMM pool by defining the asset pair. For this example, one would select Asset 1 as XRP and Asset 2 as Solo. For the Solo token, the interface will require its specific issuer address to distinguish it from any other tokens that might use the same currency code. Creating a new pool. If a search reveals that no AMM pool exists for the specified asset pair, the first user to provide liquidity will be initiating its creation. This action triggers an AMM Create transaction on the ledger. This initial deposit is particularly important, as it establishes the starting price ratio for the pool based on the amounts of the two assets deposited. For instance, depositing 1,000 XRP and 500 Solo would set the initial price of 1 Solo at 2 XRP. Subsequent liquidity provisions will be based on this evolving ratio. 4.3. Executing an AMM deposit transaction, a detailed guide. The core action of providing liquidity is the AMM deposit transaction. 14. The XRPL's native AMM offers two distinct methods for making this deposit, both of which are typically accessible through the DEX interface. The choice between them is a strategic one, balancing convenience against capital efficiency. 4.31. Double asset deposit, the standard most capital efficient approach. This is the traditional method of providing liquidity, common across most AMM platforms. It involves depositing a value equivalent amount of both assets in the pair. Mechanism. The AMM pool must maintain a 50-50 value balance between its two assets. When adding liquidity, the user must contribute assets that preserve this balance. For example, if the current price of Solo is 2 XRP, a user wishing to deposit 1,000 XRP would also need to deposit 500 Solo. User interface walkthrough. Select the desired pool, e.g. XRP Solo. Choose the option to add liquidity or deposit. In the deposit form, enter the amount for one of the assets, e.g. 1,000 for XRP. The interface will automatically calculate and populate the required amount for the second asset based on the current pool price, e.g. 500 for Solo. Review the transaction summary, which will show the amounts of both assets to be deposited and the estimated number of LP tokens to be received. Click Add Liquidity to proceed. Advantage: this method is the most capital efficient. Because the user is providing a balanced pair of assets, no underlying swap occurs, and thus no trading fee is incurred as part of the deposit process. 14. For any significant liquidity provision, this is the recommended approach. 4.32. Single asset deposit, the convenient but costlier option. A unique and innovative feature of the XRPL AMM is the ability to provide liquidity using only one of the assets in the pair. Mechanism. When a user chooses to deposit only a single asset, e.g., only XRP into an XRP Solo pool, the protocol performs an automatic internal transaction. It takes the single asset deposit, swaps approximately half of its value for the other asset in the pool, and then deposits the resulting balanced pair. For example, a single asset deposit of 1,000 XRP would be treated as if the user first swapped 500 XRP for 250 Solo, and then deposited the pair of 500 XRP and 250 Solo. User interface walkthrough. In the Add Liquidity interface, enter an amount for only one of the assets, e.g., 1,000 for XRP, and leave the other asset field empty. The interface will recognize this as a single asset deposit. Review the transaction summary. Note that the estimated LP tokens received will be slightly lower than for a comparable double asset deposit due to the implicit fee. Click Add Liquidity to proceed. Advantage and disadvantage. The primary advantage is convenience. A user holding only XRP can become an LP in an XRP Solo pool without first needing to perform a separate manual swap to acquire Solo. The disadvantage is the cost. The implicit swap that occurs as part of the deposit is subject to the AMM's trading fee. This fee is levied on the portion of the asset being converted, reducing the total value deposited and resulting in fewer LP tokens being issued to the provider. The choice between these methods is contextual. For small deposits, the convenience of a single asset deposit may outweigh the minor fee. For larger, more professional LPs focused on maximizing returns, the fee avoidance offered by a double asset deposit makes it the superior choice. In highly volatile markets, the speed of a single asset deposit might also be preferable to executing a separate swap, where the price could move unfavorably before the final liquidity provision.